Benjamin Sesko to Man United. Here we go. So Manchester United agreed the fee for him, 85 million euros, 76.5 plus 8.5 million in very easy add-ons, according to Fabrizio Romano, for the striker. And for Manchester United, this is what they needed. They really needed a striker. They need someone to complete the attack. They can't go into the season playing Højlund as striker, playing Xerxes as the starting striker, even maybe taking a risk and putting Cheeto Obi in, who hopefully will get minutes for them. Hopefully Xerxes and them, and Højlund's gone, but they needed an improvement. And this guy is it. I see people calling him Højlund 2.0. He only has 13 league goals this year, which is nonsense. This guy is so much better than Højlund. It's not even funny. He's physically he's one of probably one of the top 5 or top 3 most athletic strikers. He's young. He's got a lot of upside. I think he can strike the ball really well. He's quick. He's got good movement. He can do good one. His link up isn't the best, but he does link up in a way where he can peel off and make a run to like the back post or in on goal, which I think is a skill that a lot of strikers lack and a physical ability that a lot of players lack. So I think he's really good. I think he's going to be very good. I think he has the potential to be one of the best strikers in the world, and he's going to have a lot of creativity behind him. The one thing I will say, though, is I don't think he's going to come into the Premier League and bang 20, 25 goals. I think he'll probably get around the 15 mark, maybe a little less than that. I think you need to give this kid a year or two to really settle in and develop a little more before you start putting this huge weight on him to be like Erling Haaland, which he's not going to be. He's not going to be like that. A lot of people are going to shit on him just because he's going to Man United. There's going to be a lot of pressure because he is going to Man United. But United are a team that finished 15th last year, had their worst season in Premier League history. They're not going to be... There's not huge expectations for them, and there's not a huge jam-packed schedule with them. They don't have any Europe, so it's just focusing on the league and the cups. And success for them is getting into Europe, whether that's Europa Conference, whether it's Champions League, whether it's Europa League. It doesn't matter. I think United should be focused on going far in the cups, maybe hit a semifinal or a final in one of them, and then qualify for Europe, which I think if there's 5 spots in the Champions League again, I think they could easily qualify for the Champions League if everything clicks together. Because on paper, if they get a midfielder in, if they get a goalie in, this team can challenge for top 5. You see Spurs, who didn't finish above them, lost way more games than them, but won the Europa League. They're going to be packed up with Champions League. They're going to have a new manager who's never been at this level before taking control of them. They're going to take some time to settle in, and they could fall behind everyone else. Newcastle look like they're about to lose Isak, and who knows who his replacement is going to be. I think they drop off a little bit, especially with Champions League. Again, last time they had Champions League, they didn't even finish in a European place. And the other team that I think will be their biggest competition is Aston Villa. And I think they've lost a little bit of depth and quality in their team. I don't expect them to be as good as they were 2 years ago or even as good as they were last year. I think you'll see a slight dip from them. I think maybe someone like a Morgan Rogers can have take another level, take another step, and keep this team afloat into that 5th, 6th position. But I don't see any of the teams that I just said. Man United, Forest, I don't expect to be up there either. I know they had a great season, but I just don't see it personally displacing the top 4. I think that even with how poor Arsenal's attack has been in preseason, I don't see any of those teams falling behind because of how much work they've done in the transfer window to stay one step ahead of the teams behind them. But as for Manchester United, they should be fighting for Europe next year. I think this attack on paper of Mbuemo, Cunha, Sesko, if you want to include Bruno in there too, I think it's one of the 5 best attacks in the league. I think on paper, because you have someone in Mbuemo scored 20 league goals last year. You have Cunha who scored 15 league goals last year. And you have Bruno, who's a G&A machine in the Premier League, and then you have Sesko, who is hit or miss, but I think there's the right things around him for him to develop. I think with Hoyland there wasn't. I think you had a worse team, you had a worse manager, someone that's not identify like you can't identify how they play. Their attack had really no rhythm. It was just feed it to Ahmed or Garnacho down the wing, or have Bruno create some crazy chance, and Hoyland just also isn't of the quality of Sheshko. So I think for Manchester United this is a great deal. I think for Newcastle this is a huge blow. I think a lot of their fans are coping online. They're upset, especially with the news today that Fabrizio keeps pushing out that Isak wants to leave. He wants to go to Liverpool, but Newcastle aren't opening the door until they find a replacement. The Wissa deal, we haven't heard any news about it. We don't know what's going on with it. I think these fans are having a complete meltdown. They are first with Mbuemo. They're crying about they overpaid for him. They're ruining the market, and then they pay more than United for Sheshko, and actually apparently offered him higher wages too, and they still can't get it over the line. So I think this is a good humbling for this fan base. I don't hate Newcastle, but their fans have been on such a high horse the last couple of years because they have Isak, because they have Gordon, because they have Bruno G. Their midfield is so good. They've made the Champions League twice. They won the Carabao Cup. But there's still a pecking order at the end of the day. Crystal Palace won a bigger trophy than you. Everybody wants to leave. They have, I mean, to a point, they have to sell people, but Eze would rather move to Arsenal, who haven't won a trophy in 5 years. Gahey would rather move to Liverpool, who just came off of winning the league. Mateta, if he was offered the chance, he would probably go to even a Newcastle. Honestly, I think that's who they should be going for. But Adam Wharton would go to someone like a Spurs if they put in a huge bid for him. So I think when it comes to Newcastle, you have to understand where you are. It's not FFP holding you down. It's been around for over 10 years. It's not the Red Cartel or the Top Six, Sky Sports, anything like that. It's you have to develop your revenue if you want to be able to afford the top players. And selling Isak could be a blessing in disguise because of how much you can increase your revenue by and put it into better players. But at the moment, you can't attract those players, which I don't know what Eddie Howe is saying to them. I don't know what the owners are saying to them. They don't have a sporting director, so I don't expect how you expect things to get done. But there's nothing bringing them to Newcastle. You have to convince people to go. It's not, you can't just throw money at it. And no FFP, they would throw money at it and bring them in. Well, you paid more than what Sheshko wanted to go to United, and he still went to United over you. So you're gonna pay for people that don't want to come to you but want to come for the money. That's what Man United did for years, and they got shit on for it. It's a terrible idea. So to wrap it up, great deal for United. I think this player has a lot of potential. I think could become a goal scoring machine if he finds his finishing, able to pick out the corners and not just launch it from 30 yards out and in the top bin. Just light finishes, inside the box, being a presence. In the air, you already know what he is. Newcastle, get the deal for Wissa done, and pick up an Ollie Watkins or Mateta or something. Isak doesn't want to stay. You got to let him go. If you can convince him to stay for a year and then tell him next year you'll let him leave for a cut rate price, then fine. But I personally don't see it happening. I see Liverpool swooping in last minute, probably when the season's already started. I think he won't play the first game, and that will just be the nail in the coffin, and you'll see him leave. So maybe we'll see more news with that in the coming days, because not Newcastle, Liverpool they sold Diaz. They're selling Nunes to Saudi. There's rumors Harvey Elliott might leave. There's still rumors that Chiesa is going to leave. So they're going to bring in money, and seems like that's going to be the big buy. There's also the link with them in Barcola, but let's see what happens with Isak before I make any definitive statements about that situation. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.